Major League Baseball was never meant to have two-way legends, yet a century apart, Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani both shattered that rule, each dominating as pitcher and hitter in worlds that barely resemble each other. Ruth conquered a small, closed league and became a myth. Ohtani faces global competition and relentless scrutiny, yet still defies logic. Comparing them isn't just about stats, it's about who changed the game more. When you adjust for era, pressure, and the quality of their peers, who truly stands alone? The answer is stranger and more revealing than most fans realize. In 1920, Major League Baseball was a closed circle. 16 teams, all clustered in the Northeast and Midwest, made up the entire league. Every player was white. Black athletes, including stars like Oscar Charleston and Bullet Rogan, played in separate leagues, their talents locked out by segregation. The pool of competition was shallow by today's standards, and the scouting reach barely stretched beyond the local sandlots. Travel was grueling. Teams rode trains from city to city, sometimes playing double headers with little rest. There were no charter flights, no climate-controlled clubhouses, and no sports science. Most players took off-season jobs to make ends meet, selling insurance, working in factories, or running hardware stores. Even the best ball players trained with little more than basic calisthenics and batting practice. Nutrition and conditioning were afterthoughts, and few understood the value of recovery or year-round preparation. Yet in this modest arena, Babe Ruth erupted onto the scene. The 1920s were an age of transformation. Radio was turning local heroes into national celebrities, and Ruth became the biggest of them all. His home runs did not just glue clear fences, they shattered expectations. In 1920, Ruth hit 54 home runs, a number that exceeded the total output of every other team in the league. Newspapers splashed his name across headlines, and radio broadcasts carried his feats from coast to coast. The country tuned in for every swing, every record, every rumor about his larger-than-life personality. The league's structure amplified Ruth's legend. With only 16 teams, each roster spot was precious, but the absence of black and Latin players meant the talent pool was artificially limited. Ruth did not face the best from every corner of the game. He faced the best allowed to play. Still, his dominance was so overwhelming that it forced the sport to evolve. Stadiums filled to capacity when Ruth came to town. Attendance soared, and the Yankees, who purchased Ruth's contract for $100,000 after the 1919 season, saw their gate receipts double in a single year. The technology of the time added to Ruth's mystique. Radio was new, and Ruth's exploits were among the first sports stories to reach millions at once. He became a household name, appearing in advertisements, comic strips, and even movies. Fans followed his every move, and his impact stretched far beyond the diamond. Ruth was more than a player. He was a phenomenon, a symbol of American ambition and excess during the Roaring '20s. But the numbers Ruth put up cannot be separated from the world he played in. No night games, no cross-country travel, no global talent pipeline. The league's small size and rigid boundaries made it possible for one man to stand so far above his peers. That context matters when comparing greatness across generations. Ruth's era magnified his achievements, but it also set limits that would be unthinkable in today's game. 30 teams now stretch from Miami to Seattle, from Toronto to San Diego. Every roster draws from a global pool. Players arrive from Japan, Korea, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Australia, and beyond. Scouts scour not just American high schools, but training centers in Hokkaido and sandlots in Curacao. Shohei Ohtani's journey from Iwak Prefecture to the heart of Major League Baseball is only possible because the league itself has become a worldwide contest, its borders dissolved by talent and technology. Relentless. Every player on the field is the product of years of specialized coaching, advanced biomechanics, and near constant evaluation. Data analysts and video coordinators break down every swing and every pitch. Pitchers face hitters who have studied their tendencies in slow motion, frame by frame. Batters adjust in real time, using information delivered on tablets in the dugout. Ohtani does not just compete against the best in America. He faces the best from 5 continents, all fighting for the same spotlight. The scale of modern baseball dwarfs that of Ruth's era. In 2023, more than 1,200 players appeared in the majors, their backgrounds as varied as their skill sets. The integration of Black, Latin American, and Asian athletes has pushed the level of play higher than ever. The league's reach is matched by the intensity of its coverage. Every Ohtani at bat is streamed live around the world, dissected instantly by fans and experts on social media. His highlights trend in Tokyo and Los Angeles at the same time. A single home run can rack up millions of views before he even steps back into the dugout. Modern science shapes Ohtani's daily routine. His training is monitored by nutritionists, strength coaches, and medical staff. He uses motion capture labs to fine-tune his mechanics and interpreters to navigate interviews in 2 languages. Recovery protocols are scheduled to the minute. In this era, a single injury update can dominate headlines in 2 countries. Every decision, when to pitch, when to rest, what to eat, ripples outward, tracked by fans, fantasy leagues, and front offices alike. Pressure is constant, scrutiny unending. Ohtani's performance is measured not just by box scores, but by advanced metrics, heat maps, and biomechanics. His brand is global, his image carefully managed across platforms and continents. Unlike Ruth, whose legend grew in the pages of newspapers and the crackle of radio, Ohtani's every move is instantly translated, analyzed, and amplified. In today's game, standing out means rising above a field that is deeper, faster, and more informed than ever before. To dominate here, a player must not only defeat his opponents, but also outpace a system designed to find and exploit every weakness. For Ohtani, greatness is not just about talent. It is about thriving in the most demanding, connected, and competitive baseball world the sport has ever seen. Baseball's greatest debates often come down to numbers, but not all numbers are created equal, especially when comparing legends separated by a century. Simple stats like home runs and RBIs tell only part of the story. To truly compare Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth, analysts rely on advanced metrics designed to level the playing field between eras, ballparks, and styles of play. One of the most important is OPS Plus. It stands for On-Base Plus Slugging, adjusted for league and park factors. The formula takes a player's ability to reach base and hit for power, then compares it to the league average while correcting for ballpark quirks. Every year, the average player is set at 100. If a hitter posts an OPS Plus of 120, he is performing 20% better than his league's average. Ruth's OPS Plus above 255 in 1920 means he was not just good, he was 155% above the norm, even after accounting for the cozy right field of Yankee Stadium. Ohtani's 184 in 2023 signals that in a league brimming with elite talent, he was still 84% better than his peers. Pitchers have their own version, ERA plus. This metric starts with earned run average, how many runs a pitcher allows per 9 innings, then adjusts for league scoring trends and the ballparks they pitch in. Like OPS Plus, an ERA plus of 100 is average. A score above 100 means the pitcher is better than his competition. Ohtani's best ERA plus seasons, hovering around 142, show he is not just a capable starter, he is among the best in any given year, even as he faces deeper lineups and relentless scouting. Another key measure is WAR, or wins above replacement. WAR estimates how many more wins a player delivers compared to a typical backup or minor leaguer. It combines offense, defense, and for pitchers, their work on the mound. Ruth's career WAR of 182.6 is the highest in baseball history. Ohtani's WAR is climbing rapidly, reflecting his rare value as both a hitter and a pitcher, but even these stats do not capture everything. That is where Z-scores come in. A Z-score measures how far a player's performance stands from the league average in terms of standard deviations. In plain terms, it shows how much of an outlier a player truly is. Ruth's best seasons were not just dominant, they were off the charts, far beyond what most players ever reached. Ohtani's two-way excellence is also a statistical anomaly, but in a league where the average has moved upward, standing out is arguably tougher. These metrics, OPS plus, ERA plus, WAR, and Z-score, are the tools that let us compare stars across eras. They strip away the noise of changing rules, ballpark dimensions, and evolving talent pools. When the baseline is always set at 100 and context is baked in, fans and historians can see not just who was great, but who towered above their time. Ruth's 1920 season sits at the outer edge of what is possible in baseball. His slugging percentage that year was .847, the highest ever recorded by a qualified hitter. He launched 54 home runs, outpacing every other team, not just every other player, but the true measure of Ruth's separation from his peers comes through OPS plus, the era-adjusted metric that strips away ballpark quirks and league scoring trends. In 1920, Ruth's OPS plus hit 255. That means he performed 155% better than the league average hitter, even after accounting for the cozy right field in Yankee Stadium and the offensive environment of the time. Unmatched statisticians call this kind of season an outlier, but even that word feels small for what Ruth accomplished. When analysts use Z-scores to measure how many standard deviations a player stands above the league mean, Ruth's 1920 campaign emerges as a statistical anomaly. His slugging and OPS plus are so far beyond the norm that on a graph of league-wide performance, he does not just lead the pack, he is in a different orbit. No other hitter in the modern era has matched that distance above their contemporaries, not even in the most explosive offensive years. A century later, Shohei Ohtani's 2023 season draws its own red line across the record books. Ohtani posted an OPS plus of 184, meaning he was 84% better than the league average hitter, while also leading the majors in strikeouts per 9 innings as a pitcher. In a league with 30 teams drawing talent from every continent, that level of dominance is rare. The league is deeper, the average player stronger, and the bottom of the roster more competitive than ever before. Ohtani's numbers, when placed on a Z-score chart, show a player who stands out in a landscape where standing out is nearly impossible. Modern. Yet the raw separation remains more extreme for Ruth. His 1920 numbers are not just impressive, they are mathematically extraordinary. No player since has posted an OPS plus even close to 255 over a full season. Ohtani's 184 is elite by modern standards, but Ruth's best stretches redefine what elite means. The numbers force a difficult truth. Ruth's statistical distance from his peers in his best year remains unmatched. Advanced metrics like OPS plus and Z scores allow for these comparisons, removing era, park, and league context to reveal just how far each player soared above the rest. Ruth's 1920 is the apex of individual offensive dominance. Ohtani's 2023 is the modern benchmark for two-way brilliance. Both seasons are singular, but when the numbers are stripped to their essence, Ruth's statistical outlier status stands alone at the summit. Babe Ruth's journey from the mound to the outfield was a deliberate calculation, not a gradual fading of skills. In December 1919, the Boston Red Sox sold Ruth's contract to the New York Yankees for $100,000, the highest sum ever paid for a player. That transaction was not just about money, it was about redefining what a baseball star could be. Yankees ownership, led by Jacob Ruppert, made their intentions clear from the start. Ruth would play every day, not just once every four or five games as a pitcher. They saw his power at the plate as a way to fill seats and rewrite the team's fortunes. Ruth's own words echoed this new direction. In interviews, he explained that pitching, while rewarding, left him on the sidelines too often. As an outfielder, he could shape the outcome of every game with his bat. The Yankees' strategy paid off immediately. In 1920, Ruth started just one game as a pitcher, but played 152 games in the field, launching 54 home runs and doubling the team's attendance in a single season. The days of Ruth as a two-way regular were over. He would pitch only 5 more times in the rest of his career, mostly as a novelty or for publicity. There was no formal contract clause barring him from the mound. But the business of baseball had changed. The Yankees wanted a daily spectacle, and Ruth's bat was the main attraction. His transition from pitcher to full-time slugger set a precedent that would define not only his own legacy, but the very idea of what it meant to be a superstar in the modern game. Shohei Ohtani's story cannot be told without the scars of modern baseball's harshest reality: injury. His right elbow, the engine of his two-way brilliance, has twice given out under the strain. In June 2018, Ohtani was diagnosed with a torn ulnar collateral ligament, UCL, after just a few months in the majors. The diagnosis was familiar to pitchers, but almost unheard of for someone who also hit 20 home runs that year. He underwent Tommy John surgery, a procedure that reconstructs the ligament using a tendon from elsewhere in the body. The recovery was long, but Ohtani returned not just as a hitter, but as a starting pitcher, a medical and athletic gamble that most teams would never allow. The risk did not disappear. Risk. In August 2023, Ohtani tore his UCL again. This time, surgeons used an internal brace, a newer technique that reinforces the ligament with suture tape. It is a faster recovery than traditional reconstruction. But the long-term outlook for two-way players is still uncertain. Sports medicine experts point to the unprecedented load Ohtani carries. Each start on the mound means unleashing fastballs that routinely top 97 miles per hour, generating peak valgus torque, the kind of force that has ended many pitching careers. Between starts, he faces another set of demands: hundreds of swings in the cage, daily at-bats, and the constant grind of travel and media. Biomechanical studies show that the UCL is distressed most during pitching, but cumulative fatigue from hitting and travel can erode the body's ability to repair itself. Biology, modern protocols, pitch counts, rest days, custom rehab help, but can only do so much. The numbers are sobering. After a second UCL surgery, the odds of returning to elite two-way play drop, and the risk of another tier rises. Ohtani's body is tested by a workload no other modern player endures, and every inning, every swing carries the risk of another breakdown. His pursuit of greatness is as much a battle against biology as it is against history. The debate over who is more dominant cannot be separated from the question of how long Ohtani's body can keep up with his ambition. Baseball's evolution is measured not just in numbers, but in the ambitions of those who dare to break its limits. Today, as Ohtani redefines what is possible on a world stage, he proves that dominance and myth are always up for renegotiation. The next legend they could be watching now, believing the impossible is only a starting point.